Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? You can give a thumbs up if I'm audible.
Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Thank you. Another 1 minute to start. We'll wait for a few more participants to join, then we can start our session. ആൾക്കാരുണ്ട് 30 രണ്ട് മൂന്ന് So a very good evening to all here. Maybe slowly we will have participants joining in. So a very good evening, and I'm sure you all would be interested in this topic because we are in par with the NEP norms. So the topic is have an integrated learning for mental well-being. So we will see what is that art can do. Can anybody say what is that art can do for your mental well-being? Anybody? No? Nobody? What do you do if you're feeling very bored, or if you feel stressed from your job? What is that you want to do? Nobody wants to say. So you don't do anything? So when I am stressed, what I do is I hear to some soft music. I hear to babies talking, because I like that, which is more soothing to me. And of course, everybody would like to have music in your for your stress buster. What I did today is something unique. I want to show that in my next slide. Let us see what is integrated learning before I show you what I have done for my stress buster. Integrated learning, of course, when you start with art. Ma'am, you have something to say?
Exactly what it's asking you.
Okay. So integrated learning, what do we have? Art is very, very important for all of us. Can anybody unmute and say, what do you feel art is? Quick answer. What do you think art is? Okay. Art is something which will reduce your stress, which you can have your emotions portrayed. Your emotions come in the form of art. So what we do is, inside the classroom also, we have so many things for children, students of different age group. We do have art integrated programs. So I will be talking in depth of it. But then I just want you all to know, art integration, you have art in every ways. It can be even drawing a line. When you ask children to draw lines, it can be in different ways. They will have a standing line, they will have a vertical, horizontal, slants. You just tell them draw a line, it can be in different ways. So that is also an art. Then you have shapes. We do have shapes, which when you have 2, 3 shapes together, you have an art in that. Then you have textures. You have shapes. With the shapes, you have art. Then you use textures to them. You have different types of textures. So when you ask children to do all this in the classroom, they try to bring out their emotions. And when you talk to them, they will have a lot more to say. And again, I want to say art, you have theater, you have drama, you have puppetry, you have painting, And some of you will be interested in making rangolis also, isn't it? Rangolis also, you have something in your mind and then you say, I want to do this as a rangoli, or I want to draw this. So there are so many types of art that you want to do. The dress that you all wear, it is, you go to a tailor and ask him to do a dress for you. That is also an art. The neck piece which I'm wearing now, this is also purely art. I wanted something like this and I told it to that person to make. So art is everywhere. Wherever you go, whatever you do, it is an art. It can be cooking, it can be your mending your clothes, whatever. So I just want to show you. I have something on my hand. This is also an art, because when I asked this student to do it, the student had so many things to depict here. And when I spoke to her, she had every detail she wanted to talk about this design. So that is also an art. So when art can have so much impact on you, then think about students. So what is the goal? Art integrated learning, it has different approaches. You can have that in your classroom. You can ask your children to have their whatever is there in their mind, you ask them to depict it on a paper. They will try to give you their emotions and thoughts that they have. And believe me, whatever they feel, they draw. You just give them a topic, or you just tell them, this is what I want. Or you ask them, what is there in your mind? You please draw it. They will have so many things. Of course, when I talk about mental well being, it is not only we are talking about children who are having mental issues, we are talking about children who are of different categories. It can be mental well being, it can be about their family background, it can be of different cultures. Children come from different cultures, so they have different thoughts. So it will be nice if you incorporate art into every subject that you all do, because they have their own self expressions which will relieve their stress. So it can be math, it can be English. They will depict whatever you ask, and you may wonder why they are drawing those pictures or why they are depicting those pictures when you talk to them. So what are the pros? What do you think are the advantages of having art integrated into your regular classroom? Because some children, they have communication problem. Some children, they may not be able to talk well, but then they may depict their mind through their drawings. And you see their drawings, it will have so many things to talk about. So it is for different categories that you have mental. It can be for challenging children. You will have assorted type of children in the class. So when you have to cater to them, you ask them to draw, you will find out whether your teaching has done wonders to them. That is why we say art, you try to integrate art into your classroom, because children have their own emotions coming out. They use different shapes, they use different colors, and they convey their emotions to you. And believe me, art is a very, very powerful tool. It will tell you what you have taught them and what the children have learned. And of course, children have so many problems nowadays. Yeah, it could be at home, it could be in the class, because there are subject teachers coming in. They are stressed so much. So I think art would be very, very beneficial for them. What is the purpose of art? Can anybody unmute and tell me what is the purpose of art? You all might be incorporating art, isn't it?
Art conveys the concept very clearly and in an interesting way.
Excellent, ma'am. Yes, very good. Anybody else?
Easy for the students to understand.
Yes. You can also depict art if you feel your children are not able to understand what you're teaching them, because sometimes we keep teaching, as I am doing now, we keep talking and talking. Children may not understand. So it will be always advisable for you also to depict your teaching through drawings. So the purpose of art is you understand children better, You try to escalate their self-esteem by giving them an opportunity to do whatever they have understood. Try to depict what they have understood. By doing that, you also boost their self-confidence. What is the what impact does art have in your teaching? Can anybody unmute and tell me what impact you have seen in your class with integration of art? Anybody?
The slow learners are interested to do that, the activities or whatever we give. So we can attract them towards our class.
Yes. So I'm sure, Sunita ma'am, as ma'am said, we don't have same type of learning children there. We will have variations. Everybody is not having the same IQ level of learning. For them, you have the gradations that you want, and when you ask them to draw or the art or impact that you want to have in your children, when you ask them to draw something what you have taught, they would portray it very beautifully, and that would you also give them projects. Now, as ma'am said, all of them are not in par in their learning skills. So when you have fewer children who need more of concentration, when you feel there are slow learners in your class, so what is the best you can do? Group them. Try to group them in smaller groups and give them projects and see how they try to build their art and how they try to talk. Because art, again, when you have groups, they try to communicate better. They try to mingle with other friends of theirs, so they are not closed. They open up. We don't want introverts in the class. So the best idea would be give them projects, ask them to make groups, so that you have the best in your class after your teaching. Avoid stress, of course, as the caption itself says, avoid stress. Art, tell me who is not interested in art? Everybody, whoever is listening to me, the participants here, including me, everybody is interested in art. We have our own genre of thinking. I may be interested in something. The others in this group may be interested in different types of art. It need not be only crayons or pencils or sketch pens. You all will be interested in so many types of art. So art reduces your stress, and engaging in art, any type of art, reduces your stress and it keeps you calm. When it can keep you calm, of course, it will calm down the children also in the class. And believe me, give them more of art activity. Try to give them placards, flashcards. Give them a storyline, just one storyline. They will try to depict a beautiful story for you, and then you can see the way they have calmed down. And when you come and ask them what they have drawn, they will come out with so many ideas, and whatever was there in their mind, they try to depict it. Their emotions come out, and when you go and talk to them, they feel more happy that the teacher is concerned. So that way, art is a very good, very good tool, I can tell you. So what is the complementary approach? Learning should it, you know what, art cannot be traditional method cannot be replaced with any newer methods, but art can to some extent replace this type of traditional teaching method, because this type of art integration will reduce the stress level in the children. And believe me, because we wake them up early in the morning and we rush them to school. Yes, ma'am, you have something to share? Okay. So we just wake them up, push them into the bus, or you come and drop them at the school. They have so much of stress. Maybe in front of you, they would be smiling, but their stress levels are there like us. So the best complementary approach is ask them to draw, ask them to depict whatever they feel. Every now and then, just quickly have a ice breaking session. You can even ask them to come and draw it on your whiteboard. You can just give them a marker and say, draw whatever you feel. You just see how nicely they depict. And art is also very, very beneficial for children nowadays, because the minute you talk to children, they say, ma'am, I'm stressed because I have a lot of things to study. So that way, when they are stressed, art is a very, very beneficiary thing. Foster understanding. By promoting creativity and self expressions, art integrate it tries to boost up the empathy and the understanding of the society. I'm sure everybody will agree with me, because nowadays I hardly see children who are empathetic. They just mind their own business and go. They are not empathetic. So I think when you try to integrate art education with them, they will be doing wonders. So now, before I conclude, I want some of you to tell me how art has benefited you in the class. Can anybody unmute and let's have a chat? How art has benefited you in the class? Have you all tried it? How that therapy has uh, helped you in bringing the class together? Anyone? Nobody? So today I saw a tic tac about a kid. So that is a child of maybe 3 years old. That child was 3 years old when I was just going through the YouTube. When I was going through YouTube, TikTok, just like that, I was browsing. I saw a 3-year-old girl. I was really surprised to see the way she was doing that. The mother has a caption down saying, "My child watched a program of a small clipping on YouTube." What was that the child saw was how to go to a beauty parlor and do the facial. So this cute little child has taken kajal and she has used the brush to give the details of her eyeliners and the bindi and so many things. She has beautified herself on the face. She has done a beautiful facial and she's appreciating herself. So that way, when art can have an impact on a child who has not even stepped into a school, I am sure, irrespective of the age, I'm sure all of you all will be happy to see how art has really worked wonders in the class. And I would like to tell you what is the goal of art. The goal of art is what your child is having in his mind, what he or she has in his mind, because nowadays children have so many things running in their mind. So when you want to know what is there in their mind, I think art is the best way. You cannot ask them to write an essay of what they are thinking. You cannot ask them to do a math calculation of what is running in their mind. I think the best thing is art. Just tell them, because art is universal. Believe me, participants, art is universal. Anybody and everybody can just doodle and scribble and give you so many things within the doodling and the scribbling. It need not be a perfect portrait of yours, of what the child is thinking. But believe me, even the smallest line, a child or a student will be able to tell you what it is. He will have at least 3 lines to speak about his art. And in those 3 lines, you can see the way he communicates, the confidence that he has to tell you what he has drawn, and he will also improve on his vocabulary. It can be any age group, because nowadays children are using slang. So it is very nice to have such type of art in your class, in your regular classroom scenario, because you can improve their talking skills. Now, can anybody tell me if you've come across such things in your class? Anybody?
Good
Who is?
evening, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Hi.
This is Ashwini.
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
I'm a dance teacher in the school, and I tried sometime maths problem or maths angles to teach them through the dance. And Because of the dancing mode, they remember that angles so easily that the maths teacher have taught them in the class, and we have done it in our classroom for a dancing, and that's how they learn up easily that concept and understood very well. So,
Yes, ma'am.
so
Yes.
that's how we integrate our art forms with their subjects to become easier for them.
Yes, that's an excellent idea. I told you, art is not confined to crayons and pencils, participants. Art has got so much value nowadays. Maybe your subject has a secondary place, but art, believe me, has got the best, topmost position because art is keeping your stress level low. Even you as a teacher or as a parent, you can ask your children because some of the parents, most of you would be parents here, taking care of your children. Maybe you can always identify if your child is bored or if your child is having some problem. As a mother, I can identify what is the problem my son is having. So are you all there? And you can always just give them a paper or ask them to draw. Imagine and draw. With those drawings, you will come to know what is mentally affecting your child or what he or she is feeling. So art is very, very important. And then it has lots of expressions, intricate.
ఇది కూలరు తీసేవారు పెడతావా ఇక్కడ చూద్దరు
Okay.
ఫీవర్ వచ్చి
But all right. So can anybody tell me, does art is only only confined to drawing, or you have something else? Like man said, she uses that for her dance as well. Art is music also. You have your emotions released out through music. So don't always give them crayons and pencils and ask them to draw. You can ask them to have different types of variations in art. As I told you, you have rangoli, you have stitching, you have your dressing. Even your dressing is an art. So many of you, as you know, we care for our dressing. That is an art. And you know what? If you dress up, I'm sure most of you will give me a thumbs up if I say this. When you dress up well, your confidence level is boosted. And how do you dress up? Dressing up is an art. I'm sure many of you will agree with me. The same way, even in your class, when you feel you have to extract the maximum from your students, you need to have art into your subjects. Now, let us go to the next form. How many of you have given art-based projects? And what is the outcome from that? Can anybody unmute and tell me? You all would have given art-based projects. How was the outcome of it? Anybody? Nobody? You all have not tried to. Pooja ma'am, you have something to say? How do you all integrate art in your projects? Okay, so what I do is I always give them a topic and I don't ask them to write. I ask them to draw. I ask them to draw the sequence of maybe a story or any topic that I have. So children beautifully depict from the beginning. They have their own storylines. You just give them a word. They try to make a story of their own. They try to make the story of their own into different depictions. And believe me, children from the lower grade, that is from the foundation course, till the 10th standard, you have the same topic I give, they have variations in their depictions. So that beautiful is art. And let me see what else I have for you all. Art is a replacement for your monotonous work. From your monotonous duties that you all have, ask your children. You all also can take a breather when you have 2-3 classes to be taken continuously. Maybe one class you can have it as a breather. You can just talk to them and say, okay, this is the topic, you all can draw. It will be so beautiful to see them depicting whatever they draw. And I'm sure sometimes it is a replacement of the traditional method of teaching, as well as it is a breather for you. You can also relax for some
16
time.
hours की attend कर करो ना.
So you can also have a breather when you're inside your classroom. You can relax for some time and go around to monitor what the children have drawn. Usually what I do is I give them a piece of thread. I usually do this in my class. I give them a piece of thread and I start passing it. It goes in a zigzag manner or however you want. However the children are placed, in that manner, I just give them the piece of thread and just start with a story. And believe me, children
ईशो
keep going on
उठ
with
जा.
different sentences. So has anybody tried it that way? Winding a story, has anybody tried it that way? You can unmute, ma'am, because that could be this is a discussion platform which would be very great for others as well. Winding a story, how beautifully children come out with their art integrated stories. Anybody? Probably for the
Hello,
No,
next
ma'am.
ma'am, can you explain? It seems very good idea. Can you explain it more?
about winding a story.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So what I do in my classes, I just take a thread, and that thread, of course, the bundle will be with me. I take a piece of thread, I give it to the first child. The first child, I tell him, you know what, this happened. I just have my own imagination and tell it. With that line, you go give it to the child. He has another line to weave. So like that, then that weaving part, he hands it over, he holds the next part. So almost say 2 meters of thread goes around the class in such a way that the story comes out in a different way. I would have had some story in my head, in my thought, but the story comes out in a different way when it reaches the last child. Try this, pair teachers. You don't have to force the children, because sometimes when you force, they just close up, they don't open up. But this is a very good method even for children who are introverts, who don't want to open. They will try to say fewer words. As ma'am said, Sunita ma'am, I think you said, slow learners. Even the slow learners will think. But here again, if your slow learners are not able to give a line of that story, you can always tell him, now you pass it on, but you will get your turn. Tell him he will get your turn so that he will be prepared. Okay, teachers, he will be prepared for the story. And now I'll stop sharing any more. 1 minute. So anybody else who has come across this?
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry again.
Yes, ma'am.
We had similar activity, done it with the teachers once in some seminar,
Yeah.
but it was with placards. We had a bunch of placards kept front of us.
Yes.
Without knowing, you have to pick up one card and start the story with that placard. Then the
Yes.
next person come, pick up the placard, and whatever the drawing on that particular card is there, you have
Huh.
to continue that story with putting in mind of that picture and continue the story. So sometime when the child doesn't have a word inside their mind or a story को कैसे continue करना है वो अगर दिमाग में नहीं है,
Yes.
so that picture will help the child to continue the story.
Yes. That is also a very good idea.
So this is the also one way of continuing the story, and it come out very well because everyone will get different kinds of cards and everyone's mind works differently,
Yes.
and you'll get new words even for the vocabulary in also get
Exactly.
increased. So this
Exactly.
is
I
also
agree
one
with
way.
you. I agree with you,
Yes,
ma'am,
ma'am.
because I have done this. Whatever I am talking to you all, it is only after trying out with my students. I am giving you all these inputs. I'm sure you all will take it up in a very positive way. You will carry it over to your classrooms for the next academic year. Anybody else who wants to talk about their classroom where they have integrated art? Anybody?
Hello. Hello,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. Hi, ma'am.
Uh, hello. Uh, Sometimes I gave some words to the students and they knit the story with the help of those words. And the story may be open ended, so every child can participate to make the ending according to them. So it's
Yes.
also very interesting to see their views about it.
Yes.
Thank you.
So here again we have art. How now you may wonder how you have art here, because art is what they think and what they portray. It need not be always pencil, pen, and erasers. It can be their thought that is there in their mind. As I told you, when they start telling stories, many of you gave very good ideas, which even I will incorporate. So what happens is you can have placards, you can have puppets, you can have anything in their hands also, because some slow learners, when you give a thread, they may not be able to wind the story. So always a placard, I use a placard, looking at it, they may see it multiple times, but they will come out with a few lines. Those are very good ideas which you all can incorporate, and I do have my Google form there, you all can fill in, and it will be nice if you all put in your phone numbers so that the certificates are dispatched on time. And any more questions, any other ideas that you all have, you can always share it, because we all are in the same platform, we all can share the ideas. Sharing ideas also is an art. Anybody?
Ma'am, I'm a
Yes,
maths teacher,
yes, ma'am.
and to understand the concept of properties of various quadrilaterals, I have tried with it like a puppet show as well as role play.
Huh.
That means the children will be depicting the ideas as a puppet, as well as they dress up like a shape. For example, rectangle, parallelogram, like, and they weaved a story out of it. The like parallelogram is the mother, and the trapezium is the father, and the rectangle, square, etc. are their children, and each one of them discuss about their properties.
Excellent, man. Brilliant. I'm sure few of them will take up these ideas also, because when you connect it with the family, it reaches them better. Very nice idea,
Yes.
ma'am. I will also
Yes.
incorporate that.
It
Anybody
was
else?
very wonderfully executed, ma'am, in our courtyard.
Good,
So
good.
that all the
Very
children from grade 6 to 8, it will be useful for them. Even in ninth standard children, they all have to
because
learn the properties of quadrilaterals.
yes, one thing, you know what, sorry to interrupt, ma'am. What happens is when you have hands-on activities for the children, it can be in any form that retains better for some of them, as ma'am said, slow learners. It will cater to everybody's need. I'm sure you all, as participants, will incorporate all of these ideas. Many of them have shared their ideas, because hands-on activities, it can be any form. You can use blocks, you can use pencils, crayons, any form, and it works wonders to retain into their brains. And of course, as I said, they also deliver it in the form of art, which as teachers and as parents you will understand them better. Anybody else who wants to, let us conclude with a few more tips. Anybody with a few more tips we can conclude?
Madam, there is a question that is asked by one of the participants. How to know the mind of a child who is not interested in art?
Who is not interested in art? I'm sure as a child or as a human being, anybody will have an inclination towards art. You don't have to force the child to do anything as a drawing, as an art. You can even talk to him. Talking to him is your art. How to bring out the answer of what is there in the child's mind, how to bring out that is your art. Because if the child is not interested, you try to motivate the child to draw it in. You should know that is your art, to make your child draw or talk what you want him to talk, what you want to know, what he has in his mind. So I think that should work. I'm sure I've answered your question, sir. Anybody else? I'll take one more because we have another 2 minutes to log out. And before that, I want to say thank you, participants. It was wonderful having you all here. And I'm sure I will have one more fruitful session for you all shortly. I'm sure that also will help you all. And with this, I say thank you to you all. Do you have something to share with the other participants? You can do so. We have another 2 minutes to go. Nobody? Okay.
Ma'am, did you said that Google form where the link will be
It is there in the chat box, ma'am.
with the name of?
It is it is in the form of Google Forms only. It is there.
Okay, forms. Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I can paste it once again, not an issue.
Thank you
So
so much, ma'am.
yeah, I'm sure you all enjoyed the session. I'm going to have a lot more sessions to understand children. So any questions we can, because I have another 1 minute to be with you all. After that, their meet is going to get over. Anybody else who wants to say something about your experience? No. Okay, no problem. Yes, somebody has asked me for the recording. I will have my YouTube link. I will post that to you, ma'am. Don't worry. That is the reason I'm asking you all for your phone numbers. We will have a fruitful connect henceforth. So with that, I say thanks to you all. Thanks a lot for being so ambitious in taking part and giving your suggestions also. I'm sure all of us will incorporate. Thank you so much here, participants.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.